Well, greetings and salutations, guys and girls. It's the Off-Grid Warrior, and yes, here I am in the winter shelter shack. I officially moved in December 1st, and it is my primary residence now. There is no apartment, there is no house that I'm actually living in and just coming out and doing this on the weekend. I am in here permanently for the remainder of winter. Yes, I know winter's not here yet. It's December, and I moved in here December 1st. And, because I'm a sucker for punishment, I thought I'd just get cracking on this little experiment nice and early. Okay, if you ever wonder what a guy does out in the woods in a hand-built cabin when he's bored is... I put on the disco lights, guys, and I party like it's 1999. So, you may notice that a few things have changed since the last video. Now, if you guys aren't doing this already, you should be checking out the community tab on my channel, all right? Because over there, I do post pictures and short little comments as to what's going on and what I'm up to, what the status is on this little adventure. So if you had been doing that, you'd know that two things have actually happened in the last month and a bit. And well, one of them is I dropped my camera, my faithful camera that I've had for many years, and I smashed the glass, the lens, and it's now rendered useless. And a sad day, because that camera has shot every single video on YouTube that I've ever done. From video number one, it's been that camera. So haven't had a camera. Also, my pickup truck broke down and it was out of action for over a month, and it happened at a time that was pretty critical in this build, because at the time I needed to get more logs to close this structure up. So I wasn't able to do that. We also had some weather events where I managed to lose a tent, and we had some snow and high winds, and I was kind of sort of pressured at the time to get this place closed up no matter what. So I closed up the back wall like you see it, right? Essentially, it's just a flat wall that comes up the back side of the shelter and terminates the end of the shelter. Not what I wanted to do. Essentially, I wanted to have a long V-shaped structure continue all the way down to the back, to the ground, all right? And I did not do that because I didn't really have the right kind of logs or enough logs to extend it all the way down to the bottom. So hence the back wall like that. Another thing that happened, because I didn't have a pickup truck, didn't have logs, is I closed off the front wall with milled lumber. Okay. Now you'll also notice this white stuff here, which is kind of ugly looking, I'm sure. That is spray foam, the kind that you buy in a little aerosol can. And well, when I installed that wall, it was late at night, and I was just sort of eyeballing the angles with a pruning saw and cutting it, and I ended up with some rather ugly looking gaps there. And I thought the best way and the fastest way for me to insulate and seal those gaps was with spray foam. So I'll be honest, guys and gals, I went a little hog wild with the spray foam, and hence originally it was intended just for those gaps. It kind of ended up everywhere. I thought, what the hell, I'll just spray everything that's gap-like. So that's the deal with all the spray foam, folks. I know, not very pretty looking. And also, the day I was spraying that, it was kind of a cold day, and let me tell you, that spray foam does not work very well when it's 33 degrees and things get starting to freeze and get cold. It doesn't come out the spray tube so very well. So you can see these kind of weird little squiggly sprays there because the foam wasn't expanding like it should. Okay, so we've covered walls, we've covered the ugly looking spray foam. The other thing that's happened is you guys should be able to see these 2x4s on either side here, right? And if we take a look down the length of the roof over here, you'll notice they run almost the full length of the walls, and the same thing at the bottom over there. All right, I have on the bottom, ignore these guys, that's just there for storage, but I have one on that side, and you can't see that side because it's covered, but another 2x4 there. Essentially what I wanted to do with that is just to add some structural integrity to the walls. And I used fairly large screws. These are like 6-inch decking screws, and you can see they're attached to every single log. I just wanted to you know, sort of firm up these walls and have the walls acting as a wall and not as individual logs just sort of leaning up against each other. So that's the other change that was made. The other thing you'll notice is the floor. Yep. These are moving blankets, guys, and well, I would have liked to have some animal fur on the ground, skins, but that wasn't an option for me. So I went with the next best synthetic solution that I could think of, and I used moving blankets. Now, I bought a dozen moving blankets and have them distributed on the floor. Underneath the moving blankets, you can see it sticking out here clearly, there's plastic. And in hindsight, folks, I would not recommend using these type of moving blankets, or most moving blankets, because they are highly flammable. And I only realized this when the fairly large package of moving blankets arrived. I noticed that they were extremely flammable. So that's a bit of a problem, guys, when you're living in a winter shelter where at some point you're going to be depending on some kind of heat. So we'll just have to see how that one works out. I think I'll discuss the heat source and heating issue in another video. I can tell you what happened to my planned rocket stove mass heater that didn't work out, and why you see a buddy heater instead for now. So we'll talk about that in another video. So underneath here I have two pallets, and I have some cardboard on the pallets, and then a moving blanket. And you can see for bedding, I'm kind of camping in here for now. It's really my camping items. I have a bivvy, a Gore-Tex bivvy, my down sleeping bag, and then underneath that lot I have a air mattress. This gray item here is actually my underquilt for my hammock, for winter hammock camping, which we should be doing quite a bit of this year. I have that in here just as my blankie. You know, when I'm sitting around singing Kumbaya, I put the blankie on. So it's not very cold today, guys. It is 35 outside, 58 inside, and I haven't really seen anything below 28. So you know, nothing really to speak of as far as how the performance is in here with extreme cold yet. We're getting there though. So that's pretty much for the inside here, folks. Let's go outside and talk a little bit about the decisions I've made on the outside. I'll expand a little bit more on my failure on the back wall, and I will also be commenting or replying to a few of the reoccurring comments I had on the last video. So we'll do that on the outside. So bam, let's do that. Okay, folks, here we are on the outside of the winter shelter shack, and I know it kind of looks a little sketchy. Hey, it's like looking less like a log shelter in the woods and more like some kind of meth lab in the woods. I promise, guys, I'm not actually cooking meth in there. Right, so let's do the quick tour. It's getting a little chilly out here, and thought I'd show you guys the terrain. You can see the beautiful structure with the brown tarp on it. And guys, I actually have some earlier footage that will explain the back of the structure and what happened with the wall. So I'm going to drop that in round about now so you guys can see what happened there. So if we take a look at how I've done the back over here, I'm going to drop in some images right now that'll show you what exactly it looks like underneath there. And like I explained, I did that back wall, but it created an issue for the potential of water getting in there the way I did it, right? The way I terminated that wall. Ideally, this wall should have been recessed underneath the roof, okay? Not on the outside, because it creates all kinds of issues around the top side of that wall for water to get down and then sort of make its way down over the logs and into the logs. So I knew, like I said, when I was doing that was not ideal. So you can see how I've remedied that. Again, is it beautiful and attractive? No. Okay, so that's the back wall. And I thought I would take this opportunity just to talk to or respond to some of the reoccurring comments I had on the last video and questions around this project. Okay, so first of all, guys, I just want to make it clear that I do have a job. I work 5 days a week. I'm a little hamster in the hamster wheel, just like you guys. I'm a good robot for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I have to get to work and then get back out here, all right? So I'm not out in the middle of the Yukon territories, thriving and living off the land, with 100 miles between me and the next person. That's not the scenario here. I am in a fairly rural area though, all right? And yes, the other one was, what's the noise I can hear in the background? There's a road nearby. I can hear cars. So yes, guys, there's a road down at the bottom of this mountain, and that's the noise you hear. I would much rather be somewhere where there's no noise, but this is this property came available, and I was able to do this project up here, and this is where I'm doing it. Unfortunately, there's a road down there and there's noise. I can't do anything about it, all right? But there's no house around here, okay, guys? There's no residence up here that I'm actually living in, okay? There's no running water up here, there's no electricity up here. I'm not faking it. I am actually living in this here shelter for the entirety of winter, okay? So that covers the road noise you hear back there, and you can see there's no home here that I'm actually living in. The other thing, and I'll try and make this quick, guys, and this has got to do with the opening intro on my last video, okay? Man, it's just surprised me the amount of comments that came in on this one, and just some really ugly stuff. I guess it is the internet, and let me tell you, if you're gonna put out anything on the internet, especially on YouTube, and have the general public comment to it, you better have some thick skin, because man, there's a lot of some interesting characters out there. So the opening scene on my last video was begins with me felling a tree, and the tree goes in the wrong direction. So quickly, guys, one thing you don't know about that scene, because I'm not a logging or chainsaw channel, okay? I'm not offering tutorials, all right? That was just a funny clip I dumped in because things went wrong for me and I kind of thought it was amusing. So not trying to prove anything with that clip, just an opening clip for the video, all right? What you don't know in that scene is that there's a wedge cut on the opposite side of the tree. What you see me doing in that scene is cutting the back cut, and you cut the back cut after doing the wedge cut to release the tension on the tree, and the tree falls into the wedge cut. You guys didn't see the wedge cut, all right? You also don't know that that tree was a problematic one. It was a tree with a twist in it, so it leant to one direction and leant another direction and then went up, right? If there's any actual guys who made any of the comments, the negative comments that have done a lot of logging out on their own with limited equipment, you'll know that sometimes trees don't behave the way you want them to behave. 99% of the time, 98% of the time, I'm spot on the money with where the tree goes, but every now and again you get a hanger or something that goes a little awry. So guys, I know how to cut a tree. I know a wedge cut. I know a back cut. I know how to read trees. This isn't my first rodeo, so that's all I'm going to say on that. And with that said, thanks for watching this video, guys. I know it may not have been the most exciting video, but next time there should be a lot more snow on the ground. I should be a little more dialed in here, and I'll have some more info as to how things are going. All right, so thanks a lot for watching, and till next time, cheers.